Most 3D artists who tell me they've niched down haven't niched at all. They say, I only do product visualization or I specialize in artwork. And they think that's the move, but it isn't. That's just a service. And there are thousands of other artists offering the exact same service with almost the same wording on the same platforms. Real niching works differently. And once you see it, you'll notice you've probably been standing right next to the actual opportunity for years. I've been in this industry for more than 17 years now. This one decision changed more about my business than any 3D skill I ever learned. So let me show you what niching actually means, why it makes selling dramatically easier, and how to pick your niche without closing any doors. Because that fear of closing doors is the reason most of you haven't done this yet. When 3D artists hear niche down, they think in software and output. I do character work, I do motion design, I only do stills. That feels like specializing because you're cutting things away. But look at it from the client side for a second. A furniture brand doesn't wake up thinking we need someone who specializes in product visualization. Nobody in that building has ever said that sentence. What they're actually thinking is we have 40 products launching before the fair in April. The photographer quoted us a number that made our marketing budget cry, and half of the products don't physically exist yet. That is the problem. And I do product biz doesn't sound like the answer to that problem. It sounds like a category on a freelance platform. So when you niche by service, you've narrowed your work, but not your market. You're still a generalist to the only people who matter, the buyers. So here's the actual move. You don't niche what you do, you niche who you do it for, so who you sell to. Pick an industry, furniture brands, skincare, machine manufacturers, whatever corner of the economy you can stand being around for a few years. Your service can stay broad. You can still model, animate, render stills, build loops for social. What narrows is who you talk to, who your portfolio speaks to, and who gets your outreach messages. And I know that sounds smaller than what you're doing now, but it's not. It's the opposite. And the next part is why. Talk to 20 companies in the same industry and something shifts in your head. You start hearing their problem before they finish describing it. You learn when the launch windows are, what deadline panic looks like 3 weeks before their big trade fair, and what the marketing person actually needs so their boss stops asking questions. At that point, you're not just selling renders anymore. You're the person who has seen their exact situation dozens of times. And clients can feel that within the first 5 minutes of a call. The whole conversation changes. Briefings get shorter, price pushback gets softer because you're not a risk anymore. You're the safe choice. When a brand describes a problem to me, I usually know how the whole project will go before they've finished their first email. Not because I'm particularly clever, because I've had that same conversation more times than I can count. That is the real benefit of niching, repetition. But on the business side, not just the craft side. Every artist understands that your 100th render is better than your 10th. Almost nobody applies that same logic to sales conversations. And there's a bonus that took me years to notice. People inside an industry all know each other. They've met at the same two events every year. They poach each other's marketing people. They see each other's campaigns. Do good work for one of them, and your name starts traveling without you doing anything. That kind of referral almost never happens when your clients are a random game studio or someone's cousin with an app idea. The objection I hear every single time is, but won't I lose all my other work? No, you won't. And this misunderstanding is what keeps most artists generalists forever, so listen closely. Niching decides where you aim, not what you accept. Your outreach points at one industry. Your portfolio leads with that industry. Your profile says you help those companies. But when a game studio emails you out of nowhere with a fun project and a real budget, take it. Cash the invoice. Enjoy the work. Nobody checks. There is no niche police. The door you really close is a marketing door, not an income door. You stop advertising to everyone. You don't stop working for everyone. And honestly, mine wasn't some grand strategic decision either. The good projects kept coming from the same corner. And at some point, I stopped fighting it. Half of niching is just noticing what's already happening in your inbox. Which brings us to how you actually choose your niche. Don't look forward, look backward. Open your old invoices and ask yourself two things. Where did the money come easiest? Meaning the clients that paid a fair price without a fight. And which of those projects did you actually enjoy enough to want 10 or 20 more of them? If one industry shows up in both answers, congratulations, you just found your niche. It was sitting in your email history the whole time. If nothing shows up yet, pick the industry you're most curious about and treat it as a test. 60 to 90 days of outreach aimed at that one industry. That's the whole commitment needed here. You're not getting a tattoo or getting married. You're running a test. If it's dead after 3 months, pick a different industry and run it again. The skills of aiming at one market transfers completely. The first pick doesn't have to be the final one. What you can't test is aiming at everyone. That test has been running your whole career and you already know the results. So that's the decision, not what do I do, but who do I do it for? The obvious next question is what actually changes once you've picked your portfolio, your profile, the first message you send a stranger in that industry. That's the next video in this series, so subscribe if you don't want to miss it. And if you want to talk this through with people who are a step ahead of you, there's a free community of over 2,500 3D freelancers working on exactly this. Link is in the description. See you in the next one.